Have you ever felt like, the moment you stopped giving, people stopped caring? Like your worth was only measured by how useful you were to them? Yeah, me too. This is the truth no one wants to admit. People don't really love you, they love what you do for them. And the moment you stop, they vanish. You see, we're raised in a world that tells us to be kind, to be helpful, to be available. And we do it, with all our heart. We answer every call. We say, yes, even when we're tired. We give, our time, our energy, our love. And in return, we expect something simple, care, loyalty, maybe just a little love back. But the truth is, most people are only around when your light is on. The moment you start to dim, they disappear. They say they care. But when you're no longer useful, they forget your name. You helped your friend move into a new apartment. You were there when they cried over a breakup. You gave them advice. You supported their dreams. But the day you needed them, even just a little, they were too busy. It hurts, doesn't it? You start to question everything. Was the friendship even real? Did they ever care about you, or just what you did for them? The hard truth is, people don't always love you. They love how you make them feel. They love what you give them. And when you stop giving, the love stops too. And that's where the pain cuts the deepest. Because when you finally say no, they call you selfish. They get angry. They leave. But why? Because in their eyes, you stopped being valuable. They didn't love you. They loved your usefulness. So, you begin to shrink yourself, trying to win them back. You do more. You give more. You sacrifice your own needs, but all it does is teach them that your boundaries don't matter, that you'll always show up, even when they don't. And then one day, you wake up and realize something gut-wrenching: you were never truly loved. You were used. But here's the thing no one tells you. This pain, it teaches you something powerful. And in part 2, I'll show you what happens when you stop being useful, and start being true to yourself. So what happens when you stop being useful? When you stop showing up for everyone else and finally start showing up for yourself? At first, it's painful. You lose people. The calls stop. The texts go silent. Suddenly, the ones who loved you have no time, no warmth, no presence. And that silence? It's deafening. It makes you feel like you've done something wrong. Like by setting boundaries, you've become the villain. But here's the truth: you didn't lose them. They lost access to you. They lost their free source of help, support, validation, and time. And instead of appreciating what you gave, they resented you for pulling away. But you finally started to see it. You began to see who was really there for you, not for your efforts, not for your favors, not for your usefulness, but for your soul. And that is rare. When you stop being useful, the fake ones vanish, and that's a blessing in disguise. Because what remains is real. It's slow, it's quiet, it's not always pretty, but it's real. You learn to be okay with less noise. Fewer people. Fewer distractions. And more peace. You stop rushing to fix everything for everyone. You stop breaking yourself to make others whole. And for the first time, you begin to heal. You sit with your own thoughts. You reflect. You breathe. And you begin to ask yourself, who am I when I'm not needed? Who am I when I'm not performing, pleasing, or proving? And slowly, you meet yourself. Not the version everyone wanted. Not the one who always said yes. But the one who was buried under expectations. The version of you that was waiting to be loved, not for what you give, but for who you are. That version is powerful. That version knows peace. That version doesn't chase, it attracts. You begin to see your own worth. Not in likes, not in praise, not in attention, but in solitude. You discover that the greatest love isn't found in others, it's found when you sit alone and still feel whole. You realize that you're not here to serve everyone's story. You're here to write your own. And guess what? The world doesn't fall apart when you stop overgiving. The people who truly love you, they stay. Even when you say no. Even when you set limits. Even when you choose rest over rescue. Because real love doesn't demand your usefulness, it respects your wholeness. And the more you honor yourself, the more you attract those who see your soul, not your service. So if you're in that lonely place, where the phone is quiet, and the room feels empty, know this, you're not being abandoned, you're being protected. Protected. From people who only saw you as a tool. Protected from a life where you were nothing but a provider of comfort. You are not a machine. You are not a resource. You are not a convenience. You are a human being, worthy of love, even when you're doing nothing at all. And maybe, just maybe, this chapter of isolation isn't punishment. It's transformation. The breaking of old patterns. The death of the people pleaser. And the birth of the real you, in part 3. I'll tell you what happens when you fully embrace this new self, and how everything, your peace, your power, and your people, starts to change for the better. So what happens when you fully embrace this version of yourself, the one who no longer begs to be seen, no longer chases love, no longer breaks themselves for others? Something powerful begins to shift. For the first time in your life, you breathe without fear. You speak without shrinking. You choose yourself, not out of selfishness, but survival. Because you've learned the truth, when you spend your life trying to be useful, you forget how to be real. But now, you're done with that. You've walked through the loneliness. You've sat in the silence. You've felt the sting of being left behind. And from all that pain, you've grown roots. You've become grounded, centered, and unshakable. You no longer allow people in just because they smile at you. You no longer say yes just to avoid conflict. You no longer prove your worth, because your worth is no longer on trial. Now, your peace is your priority. Your time is sacred. Your energy is gold. And if someone wants access to you, they must come with respect, with honesty, with heart. No more performance. No more pretending. You are no longer addicted to being needed. You are addicted to being you. And that is your power. The same people who once took you for granted, they'll notice. Maybe not right away. But eventually, they'll feel the absence of your presence. They'll remember how you made life easier, lighter, better. And they'll try to come back. But this time, you're different. You no longer open the door to chaos. You no longer entertain one-sided love. You don't carry dead weight. Because now you understand, not everyone deserves a second chance just because they miss what you gave. Missing your energy is not the same as valuing your soul, and you're no longer available for relationships based on convenience. You are available for real connection, slow, steady, safe. You see, when you finally stop chasing love, the right love finds you. Quietly. Naturally. Without effort. Because you're no longer acting from desperation. You're acting from wholeness. And that changes everything. Life feels lighter. Your days feel calmer. You laugh more, not because life is perfect, but because you've stopped trying to be. You've let go of proving, performing, pleasing. You've let go of needing to be needed, and in that letting go, you found the one person you always ignored, yourself. You look in the mirror and see someone strong, not because they never broke, but because they rebuilt. Someone soft, not because they're weak, but because they survived without becoming bitter. Someone whole, not because they were always complete, but because they finally stopped giving away pieces of themselves to people who didn't care. This is freedom. And the most beautiful part? Now, you don't just exist for others. You live for you. You wake up with peace, not pressure. You love with depth, not desperation. You walk into rooms with your head high, not your heart begging to be seen. You are enough. You've always been enough. But now, you believe it. And because of that belief, your life changes. You don't settle. You don't chase. You don't apologize for choosing peace over performance. You give from overflow, not emptiness. You love from fullness, not fear. And the few people who remain in your life, they are there not because you serve them, but because you share something real. You laugh without guilt. You rest without shame. You walk away without drama. You're not cold, you're clear. Not distant, just healed. Not selfish, just finally aware of your worth. And maybe, that's what this journey was always about. Losing the ones who loved your usefulness, to find the ones who love your soul. And even if you're still on that path, still walking through the aftermath, know this, you're not broken. You're rebuilding. You're not alone. You're becoming, and everything you lost, is making space for everything you deserve.